I now invite Mr. Saifullah to address the gathering.
Good evening, all. Here I have come to deliver this speech on behalf of Mr. Arul, who was unable to attend this event. Good evening. Thank you all for being here today for a shaking of this movement, which for me feels deeply personal. It's an honor, deeply personal pleasure to speak at the launch of the Meccan Shawl, a collection that brings the stories of SLM.Hanifa to a wider English-speaking audience. My first introduction to Hanifa's writing happened when I was a schoolboy. I was deeply immersed in Tamil literature at the time. In my memory serves me right. It was my Tamil teacher who suggested that I read Makkathu Salvi, the Meccan Shawl. I think I was in grade 8. I remember finding the story both extraordinary and difficult. Extraordinary because of its emotional and human depths. Difficult because of the richness of the Eastern Muslim dialect in which it was written. Even the title itself, Makkat Salvi, contained a word that I had never encountered before, despite it being a Tamil speaker. But as I gradually come to understand the story, I was struck by something profound. Beneath the unfamiliar vocabulary was a deeply human narrative about compassion, sacrifice, and letting go. At that time, our society was trapped in the midst of the brutal war. We heard much about victory, defeat, revenge, and loss. We heard very little about giving up, about yielding, understanding human generosity, and making space for the other. Hanifa's story opened a window into that world for me. It was a lesson I never forgot. My second encounter with SLM.Hanifa was around August 2017. At about that time, I was publishing my first Tamil book, Kerala Diaries. In many ways, Kerala Diaries was a prototype for what Jaffna Monitor attempts to do today. The book questioned many established assumptions within Sri Lankan Tamil society about caste, religion, and some of the most revered historical figures. The reaction was brutal. We had planned 3 book launches in Jaffna, Colombo, and Betigalo. The Jaffna event was disturbed, the Colombo event was disturbed. Sections of the self-appointed guardians of religion and caste did not want the discussion to take place, but the Betikalo launch happened successfully. One of the main reasons it happened was SLM.Hanifa. Through my friend Dilip Kumar, I was introduced to Sabri, and through them I was eventually taken to Hanifa's home. I still remember that meeting. Hanifa embraced me warmly and told me that he would stand by me for the book launch, come what may. Once some of the religious and nationalist elements realized that Hanifa was supporting me, they expanded their attacks to include him as well. But he remained completely unshaken. He told me something I have remembered ever since, and something I often want to pass on to me, younger writers. He said, Thambi, in a 194-page book, surely there must be at least 20 pages that are useful to the society. I am standing with those 20 pages. That was Hanifa. Years later, as editor-in-chief of Jaffna Monitor, I was delighted when our fiction editor, Professor N. Asokan, better known to many readers as Elithukiniyavan, told me that he was translating Hanifa's stories into English. I knew firsthand how challenging that task would be. As a grade 8 reader, I had struggled simply to navigate the dialect and cultural references. Translation required not merely language skills but also cultural sensitivity, patience, and deep literary understanding. Professor Asohan and Professor Basmila Raviraj poured their hearts into their project. They spent months discussing meaning, clarifying expressions, and searching for the right words. The result is the book we celebrate today. I should acknowledge Professor Sivasekharam, who had earlier translated one of Hanifa's stories and graciously permitted us to include it in the collection. My sincere thanks also go to Sabri and Ghazal Publication for joining hands with Jaffna Monitor Publications to bring this work to readers. This has been genuine partnership built on a shared belief that important literature deserves to travel beyond linguistic boundaries. I knew that Hanifa carried lifelong desire to see his stories available in English. He wanted the lives, voice, and experiences of Eastern Muslims to be heard beyond their immediate communities. Today, that dream has come reality. For all of us at Jaffna Monitor, it's a privilege to have been allowed to play even a small role in that journey. I am grateful to everyone who made this publication possible. And I am grateful to Universe for allowing Jaffna Monitor to be a part of fulfilling one Hanifa's long-term dreams. Thank you so much.